Hello and welcome to Do It Yourself Musician. Today we're going to have a look at fixing the Tascam 122 Mark III cassette deck that I bought at auction a few weeks ago now. It has several issues. From first inspection, I thought it was just a cracked solder joint on the headphone jack, but it turns out there's actually more than that looking deeper. It has pretty much all the common issues that happen to those little Tascam decks, and we're going to be repairing all of those. There's probably going to be a few videos in this series fixing that thing up. But first, we're going to have a look at that headphone jack and see if we can fix that solder joint in there. So here we go. Today on the bench, we have the Tascam 122 Mark III tape recorder that I got in the auction recently. We're just going to be going through cleaning this thing up, fixing a few little problems that I noticed, like this knob is loose. We'll make sure these other ones are working correctly. The headphone jack, I believe, has a bad solder joint on it, and also there's some label or something stuck on here from the auction that I'm gonna need to try to get off. There's also some stuff on the top too, and it's just generally dirty. So I'm going to clean it up, fix the knob, restart the jack, hopefully. Look for anything else that's wrong with it. Probably check the caps in the power supply. And that's actually about all I'm going to be able to do to it. I won't be able to do an alignment on it because, any type of tape machine, you're going to need an alignment tape for it. And of course, I don't have that for this. They're probably $80 to $100 tapes, and I believe you need several to actually do a complete alignment on this unit. And also to doing a general alignment on the heads and things, they have these little, I don't know if you call them tools or whatever, but they're basically like a card that's shaped like a cassette that has little index points that you can adjust where the heads are sitting at. It's a proprietary tool from Tascam, TIAC, and of course I don't have that. So I really won't be able to go much beyond just cleaning it up and fixing a few things today. That's fine because it works just fine as it is. Sometime in the future I'll look into aligning it better. I'm not really going to bore you with getting this junk off the case, but I will say that I'm probably just going to use some alcohol. That's a good thing to use to get stickers and stuff off. It generally works pretty good. I'll probably do that last. I'm going to take it apart first and just look at the inside and get to this headphone jack, and we'll try to see what's wrong with that. Okay, I believe there's 2 screws on each side of this and 2 screws in the back to get this cover off. Jesus, thing fought me the whole way. Wow. So we got a nice big linear power supply here. The caps, look like they're in great condition. Can't tell what they are. They look like they might be Nippon MkIII's. Yeah, I think that might be. I'm not absolutely sure. I can't really see them. I find a lot that caps in these rack mount units, it's really kind of hit or miss whether they're actually bad. I would say more often than not, they're not bad. Whether they'll continue to last, I don't know. I'm not strictly certain what the date of manufacture is on this unit anyways. I don't know how to read the serial number on it. I guess we can take a look around in there and see if there's some date codes on some chips or something, and see if we can figure out what date it might be. So having a look around in this, this unit is not as old as I think it is. I'm not sure how long they made these things. I know they were introduced in 1993. This unit the latest date I can find on it is 2002. So this is a newer unit, which is awesome. So the date on the motor over here is 2002. A lot of these chips have 1 or 2 on them. It's 2001, 2002. So I'm going to say this is probably 2002. So like I said, I think the headphone jack, which is right down here on this board, has a cracked solder joint or something. I hope that's all it is. I don't have to replace the whole jack. This does have a bottom panel to it, so I can flip it over, pull out that bottom panel. We can probably get to that. I might check some of these power supply caps, but this thing isn't that old. There's not gonna be anything wrong with those. These are YEC caps, by the way. So let me flip it over and pop the bottom off. Okay, so unfortunately, there's some type of connector here. Here is our headphone jack there, and that board's on top of whatever this is. It's going into the front panel. Let me try to figure this out, look at the schematic and figure out how this goes together. Unfortunately, it looks like the faceplate has to come off to get at this. I don't know if this metal chassis underneath here needs to come. I don't think it does. I think the faceplate needs to come off. These screws need to come out, and then there is basically a board that's holding these jacks and stuff on. So I need to take the faceplate off. Okay, the front panel's off. You can see the little belt that allows these to run, the inputs to run in tandem, which is pretty cool. Now that we got the faceplate off, it's going to be a good time to go ahead and get that junk off there. So to get to the headphone jack, which is this, I believe that these 3 screws have got to come out, and I think this module will come out. You see these connectors in here? You can see this one, I've already lifted it. Those need to be undone. Flathead screwdriver. There's a little lip right there. Just get into that lip and apply a little bit of force. Should pop open. There's 2 there, and there's another one down here, so I'll get those undone. Get that board out of there. Okay, now that I've got those connectors popped, this board is just going to come right out. And here is our headphone jack right there. So there's our volume. Now it looks like there's a couple of screws in here that we'll need to pull to get this out of here, so we can actually check the bottom to see if it's a solder joint or whatnot. Okay, let's pull these screws out of here. Sorry, can't see what I'm doing. I'm like using the world's biggest screwdriver in order to do this, but I like the screwdriver because the 2 tips on it grab most everything better than small screwdrivers. Okay, let's see if this thing will pull out. Let's try to get the screws out of it first. That looks like in order for it to come out, this knob has to pull off. And let's see if it'll pull out now. Are you going to come out? Yes, you are going to come out. And yep, as suspected. Yeah. You can see some broken solder joints right there. Yep. All right. The other stuff on this board looks pretty good though. Probably these other plugs aren't used as much, but all right, we'll fire up the soldering iron and get that soldered back on there. Okay. Here's our little solder joints here. Just gonna reflow those. The front one's cracked too. Come on, heat up, heat up. While I'm here, I'm actually just gonna do these couple. Might potentially be cracked there, but don't think so, but and I think that's gonna be it. Certainly don't even want any more solder than that. And just in case you were wondering, I'm using about a 2mm chisel tip on my iron at 650 degrees, and this is 6337 Kester 44 solder. So I got the switchboard PCB put back in here with the headphone jack and volume knob in it. And then as I was setting this up to go on to do the next step, look what I found laying on the table. That's not good. So I was wondering where that came from. And having a look at the exploded drawings, it does go down in here. It screws through this spring underneath the PCB in there. So watch out for that little dude if you disassemble that to fix your headphone jack. Make sure you don't lose that and get it back in there. I'm gonna have to pull this all back out now to get this back in there. Okay, here's this jack PCB and its carrier. And if you pull this up and look at it, here's this is the headphone output, which is here, and you can see right there's a little grounding star that's supposed to make contact with that spring, and that thing screws in right there on that. So this spring looks like it lays right in there, and it sticks down through this slot right there. You can see it, and this pushes in here, so that little spring will make contact with the chassis, causing a ground connection right there. Okay, so don't lose that like I did. Stupid. So the jack PCB is reassembled and back in there with the ground spring. So now I'm going to go through and clean all of the 1/4-inch jacks, the XLRs in the back, and the RCAs. Going to clean them with a little brush and some Deoxit D5. Just do it like that. I try to avoid spraying the regular D5 into jacks directly or pots anymore. If I need to do that directly, I will use the DN5, which is the quick drying. This stuff just takes way too long to dry. Plus, of course, you need some real flushing action. All right, do the XLRs next. Here goes the XLRs. These little brushes are great for getting down in these connectors. These are sold by MkIII, the people that make the deoxit. All right, now that I've finished using the deoxit to clean all the jacks, I just need to clean up this back panel a little bit, clean the case, and get her assembled. As far as the caps inside, not even going to look at them. This, like I said, the date I found on here was, I think, 2002, which makes this thing only like 17 years old. That's that's nothing to worry about. Those caps will last a lot longer than that, so I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to assemble it. Oh yeah, I'm going to clean the heads too with a little alcohol. But that's about it. And then assemble it, and we'll try her out.